In 2035, with the intensification of greenhouse gas emissions, the glaciers at the north and south poles of the Earth have melted, immediately causing a series of serious ecological crises. Polar bears and penguins have become illustrations in textbooks. At the same time, the rise of the Earth's sea level has also brought about other more serious and urgent problems. More and more coastal cities, including Shanghai, New York, Los Angeles, and Tokyo, have all encountered unprecedented threats. The more frequent tsunamis, tornadoes, and floods, many cities have even turned into underwater cities. The heads of all major countries in the world gathered together for a conference, and the question discussed at the conference was simple: what should we do? Among the proposed plans including immigration to Mars, building taller and larger dams in coastal cities, or moving the entire population of coastal cities inland, or building a city in the sky. After considering the feasibility of all options, the Sky City plan finally won and was put on the agenda. My name is Wang Ming. When I was only 1 year old, my mother eloped with a manager of Sky City in order to change her status as a low-class person, leaving me and my father to depend on each other. After I graduated from college, I chose to join the army to hone myself. Because of my outstanding abilities, I was very lucky to join the Special Forces and retired from the army 3 years ago. After that, like most children of low-class people in this society, I chose the same profession as my father and became a construction worker. My life was not very good, but I could barely get by. My name is Wenqing. You must have heard of me, because on the one hand I am the youngest senator in history, and on the other hand, it is relying on my influence within the government that the Sky City project was able to proceed smoothly. My mother left the original family before I was born, married my father, and gave birth to me. The two of them provided me with the best education, allowing me to successfully graduate and enter the political field. My life has been smooth sailing. My life went on, and I thought it would go on forever, working inside the factory every day, produce building materials for Sky City. Until that day, Judgment Day arrived. On that day, it rained all day, and suddenly the alarm bell rang loudly in the factory. Those of us were asked to gather outside the factory immediately. There would be military trucks taking us to the airport. I didn't know what happened until later I learned that a huge tsunami broke through the flood control dams in New York, Shanghai, and Tokyo, and the Sky City project had to be carried out in advance. Although it took a lot of trouble, those of us on the evacuation list boarded the military truck and finally boarded the military transport plane. Before boarding the plane, I changed into the blue jacket and black jeans that my father left for me. The military transport plane was crowded with people, men, women, children, including almost all kinds of people in society. I finally found a place to sit down and imagined what the city in the sky would look like. I sat in the car, passed the airport guards very smoothly, and then boarded the private jet prepared for our green zone personnel. Outside the window, heavy rain poured down, and many poor people who were not on the evacuation list gathered at the airport gate. Try to break through the defense lines set up by the army. I was sitting by the window, thankful that I was in a high position and could avoid being like these poor people who had to stay on the ground waiting to die. After we red zone personnel received our green ID cards, Sky City management provided us with a free meal. However, rather than calling it food, it might as well be called pig food. The food looks very cheap, made directly from pre-prepared food, and tastes like gum. After our green zone staff got our blue ID cards, Sky City management provided us with a free meal. The food included coffee, steak, and pasta. In order to eat this meal well, I also put on a specific suit. As the first meal in the Sky City, it was very good, compared with the residents of the red zone who only deserve to eat junk-prepared food. For us, the free food was a feast for the eyes. After taking the subway for about 40 minutes, I finally arrived at my new residence. When I saw my new residence, the only feeling I felt was despair. My new residence was just a slum far away from the city center. The room was a mess, with no electricity or running water. I sat on the dusty floor and thought about why fate had done this to me. After driving my brand new black sports car on the highway for about 15 minutes, I arrived at the brand new house provided for me by the Sky City government, a villa in the suburbs. I took the elevator and entered my villa. Luxuriously decorated and equipped with all the furniture, I sat on the sofa, smiled and thanked fate for everything it had given me. All of this should not have happened. I, Wang Ming, have lived in this slum for 3 years. During these 3 years, I have lived in fear and sorrow all the time. Many residents formed different gangs. They fight on the streets all day long to snatch the only resources in the slums. The crime rate and unemployment rate remain high, and innocent people killed almost every day. Residents died in gang shootouts, including my wife. What's even more desperate is because the only purpose of slums is to produce and provide various materials for upper-class residents. Countless factories have been opened in slums. The smoke emitted by the factories pollutes the air. The water discharged from the factory polluted the water source, and eventually, my 5-year-old daughter fell seriously ill. Although I got promoted in the past 3 years and found multiple part-time jobs, my pitiful salary was far from enough to pay for the expensive medical expenses to treat my daughter. In the most desperate moment of my life, I seemed to see a glimmer of hope. That day, a rare sunny day in the slums, during the workers' lunch break, I was reading the newspaper, looking for another part-time jobs with higher income. At this moment, I saw him, my brother, Wenqing. At this moment, he is running for the next consul of Sky City as a senator. Although there is not much contact between our two brothers due to the difference in status, there is still some contact. In any case, in this desperate situation, in order to save my daughter, I am willing to try all means. In the end, I decided to run to the upper level of Sky City to find Wenqing for help. I put on the blue jacket and black jeans that my father left for me, and sneaked into the giant elevator that transported supplies to the upper floors of Sky City. Through the transparent elevator, I was able to catch a glimpse of the entire Sky City, and finally arrived successfully. Enter the Pantheon, the area where government personnel work in Sky City. I finally found my brother and told him why I came to him. He walked to the window without saying a word and discussed the terms with me. "I can help you," he said, "but first, you need to do something for me. The workers at the bottom of Sky City are on strike recently. The leader is a middle-aged man. These people's strike seriously damaged the material supply chain of Sky City, and also clashed with the army of Sky City. It caused me a lot of trouble. But what does this have to do with me?" I said, "Of course it does matter. I have arranged a meeting with the strike leaders tomorrow afternoon. Of course, this is just a cover-up. I need you to sit in the restaurant tomorrow. In the meantime, I will arrange special forces to stand by at the perimeter and clear the area with none survive. Of course, there will be a so-called trial after this, because these low-life people will think that I arranged all this, and I need you to testify that you did not see the special forces come in and massacre the strikers in the restaurant. You help me, and I will help your daughter cure her disease." "Hey, I have a job for you." After that, I became a mercenary following Wenqing's orders. Every time I would receive a call from Wenqing, he would give me a target, and I would take out my weapon and leave my new apartment. When I go to assassinate these targets, I never care who these people are, because I know that everything I do is for my daughter, and I am just paying off my debt. Whenever I finish my work, Wenqing will send someone to my home and give me a sum of cash as a reward, and I will choose to save the money because I know that when my daughter returns, she will need money to start a new life. Every night, I would head to a nearby bar and have a drink or two, hoping to wash away my guilt. However, as time goes by, I feel more and more that Wenqing is hiding something from me. Why doesn't he let me see my daughter again? Looks like I have to talk to him in person tomorrow. The next day, I was walking on the way to Wang Qing's office. I passed through the busy streets and quiet corridors, and finally entered Wang Qing's office. However, Wang Qing was not there. But the computer on his desk in his office was on. Thinking back to Wang Qing's various strange behaviors, I thought it was necessary to find out what he was hiding from me. So I hacked into Wang Qing's computer. However, just when I successfully hacked into Wang Qing's computer and looked at the contents, I regretted it. It turned out that my daughter, my little angel, passed away 2 years ago, and Wang Qing used as a bargaining chip and ordering me to help him get rid of anyone who threatens his campaign. Journalists and opposition politicians have all become his targets without exception. Moreover, Wang Qing and his politicians sent my daughter's body to the central hospital and made my daughter into a blue pill in the laboratory there, which can provide great relief of human aging, which is why Wang Qing always looks like he is only 20 years old. In extreme anger, I kept thinking about countermeasures. Wang Qing, this devil, actually betrayed his brother and did such horrible thing. At this moment, I thought of the resistance. A group of militias unwilling to obey Sky City's corrupt government and demanding reform. Through various special channels, I contacted one of the resistance agents. The person who answered the phone was a woman. Hello. Who is this? You don't need to know who I am, but I have a document that is enough to help you overthrow the current Sky City government. We met at a bar in the slums 40 minutes later. I backed up all the data into the hard drive and went to the bar in the slums as quickly as possible, waiting for the contact person from the resistance. Eventually, a woman in a green coat approached me and quickly checked the contents of the hard drive. What do you want? She asked. I want a sniper rifle and Wang Qing's movement track. I said, deal. And then the woman left the bar. The next day, the news reported that the factory producing blue pills was attacked by the resistance. Of course, Wang Qing would not just let me go. Under his order, there were special forces on the ground, drones in the sky, and every surveillance camera in the city is looking for me, even though I had already back to the slums. However, although my body returned to the slums, I still couldn't get rid of the sadness. In these short 5 years, I first lost my wife, and now I lost my daughter. On the street in the slum, I met my old colleagues and neighbors, and they had long known that I worked for Wang Qing. Traitor, superior man's dog, scum, they called me this. Hey, the sniper rifle you want is ready. In addition, according to my intelligence, in order to calm the public anger, Wang Qing will give a public speech in the city center this afternoon. I don't know what you want to do, but if you want to do it, then just do it now. I climbed up to the roof with the sniper rifle given to me by the resistance. It was raining heavily in the sky. Through the scope, I saw Wang Qing, the man who betrayed me. At this moment, he is giving a speech to the public in the city center. You took my daughter's life, then I take yours. I aimed at Wang Qing's head and pulled the trigger. After killed Wang Qing, I took one last look at my wife's grave. A few years ago, I lost my beloved wife, and now my daughter has also left me. In this case, why should I still live in this world? I am sitting in my home in the slum, raising the pistol in my hand and aiming it at my head. The sound of police calls has been heard in the distance, but unfortunately, those police and special forces are no longer able to catch me.